Happy Wednesday, or whatever day you happen to be watching on. Welcome in. I'm Ross, and this is Ross Real Talk. If this is your first time here, this is a bi-weekly segment on professional growth through various topics on life, faith, finance, career, and family. Aim of the show is to help you reach your life, professional, and career goals, while also creating a community of people around you to support you through that journey. Last episode, we started our journey with the topic of storytelling. That may have seemed like an odd place to start, but I assure you it was quite intentional. The way you tell your story shapes the way people understand you. It shapes your relationships, your ability to lead others, your ability to both get the career you want and to succeed in that career. And it can even shape the way you understand yourself. So if part one of storytelling was me setting the stage, today's episode is about growing 1% better and how we'll finish setting the stage and start identifying the main characters in the growth journey story. That's right. Today's episode is on a topic near and dear to some people, with finance and growth as two themes of this podcast. Learning how to grow by 1% every day is an invaluable skill. Now, before we go any further, I want to make something very clear. When I say 1% better, I do not mean some literal mathematical spreadsheet-driven financial way. This is a call to growth and actions that will help you achieve your goals, not a list of actions you can perform. I'm not going to tell you to set your alarm for 4:30 a.m., make your bed every day, drink more water, or get your daily workout in. Those are things that you have to decide. What I am going to show you is the concept behind becoming 1% better every day. And for anyone out there who thinks about what the impact of that would be over the course of the year, you will be 37, almost 38 times better by this time next year through deliberate action. Mathematically, anyway. Think about that, though. A little effort, making little changes, and in a year, the results won't just be noticeable. You'll be a completely changed person who's aligned toward whatever goal you're trying to achieve. This overarching idea, the idea of 1% better, is the idea of spending some time every day just to better yourself. It's choosing one thing, maybe a small thing, and taking an honest step in the right direction. You are not going to finish watching this video and then go out and fix your whole life today. I won't promise you that. This mentality is not one which promises you a new you by Friday. This mentality is one that promises that if you invest in yourself and your goals, you'll become the kind of wealthy you want to be in money, health, friends, faith, or all of the above. Now, I recently watched part of an old interview where the host of the show was interviewing Jeff Bezos. And no matter what you think about Jeff, he has been incredibly successful for a vast number of reasons. And one of the biggest reasons is the people he listens to. In that interview, Jeff recalls a conversation he had with Warren Buffett. Now, if you don't know who Warren Buffett is, I encourage you, go look him up and look up his success. If you do know, just follow along. So, Jeff asked Buffett what his secret to success in investing is. How was Buffett able to become so incredibly wealthy? And Buffett revealed his secret. And that secret is this concept of 1% better every day. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme or a find success overnight scenario. The idea of being 1% better is planned and it's deliberate. It's also not about pretending that discipline's easy or that life doesn't get busy or that everyone has the same amount of energy or money or family support or opportunity. What it is an idea that wherever you are starting from, you can grow to incredible success. The 1% better idea is a belief that small, steady, intentional improvement matters. For a lot of people, especially people in their 20s and 30s, I think that it matters a lot more now than ever. So imagine for a moment that you're sitting at home at the end of a long day. You worked or went to school or took care of your kids or handled family responsibilities or maybe all those things all at once, and you're tired. It's 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe later. And you know that there are things in your life that you need to improve. Relationships, work, finances, health, your house, your faith journey, some skill that you want, you know that something needs to change. And then you think about everything that needs to change. And that weight sometimes will hit you all at once. All the budgeting and exercise and sleep and applying for jobs and networking with people and faith life, reading, sleep, cleaning your house or your apartment, cooking your food, talking to your friends and your family, building better friendships, paying down debt, learning some new skill, all that stuff, right? It's now you're mentally exhausted as well as physically exhausted because you've just piled all that up in your head. And suddenly, instead of doing just one thing, you do nothing. And that's not where we want to be. And you're not doing that because you're lazy or because you don't care. You're doing it because your brain looked at a mountain and decided it was too big to climb tonight. So again, that's where this 1% better idea comes in. You cannot climb the whole mountain in one afternoon. Now, forming new habits and breaking old habits is hard. And it happens slowly. And that's the part that we often miss. We tend to think our lives are being shaped by big, dramatic decisions. And sometimes they are. But honestly, even most of those big decisions are impacted by the little ones. Things like what job you work in, what school you go to, who you get married to. All of those things come from a set of smaller things that you did to get you to that point. And those little things, they almost never feel heroic. They usually don't make great social media posts, but they do form you. So over the course of the next year on this podcast, we'll meet people who make little choices every day and use those choices to put them on a path to success. And that's really what this episode is about. It's about formation. So let's talk about what it actually means to get 1% better. 1% better starts with setting goals. That's right. If you want to get 1% better, you need to set a goal or set a set of goals. You can't make a journey without a direction. This is a journey. I want you to plan a final destination for that journey. And I have a story behind all this, of course. So in 2005, a man by the name of Kyle McDonald set out with a goal of bartering or trading from a single red paperclip to a home. He was going to trade up from a paperclip, one of the cheap little plastic covered ones, covered in red plastic, to owning a house just by bartering for new stuff. It took him 14 trades. 1 year and 14 trades. But what that story doesn't tell is the effort that it took him to find the people to trade with. The transaction of getting the house was planned in detail. Kyle had to do a lot better than 1% with each trade. The series of transactions, like I said, took a full year. So what's the point of all this? Set your goal and figure out the life that you want to trade your paperclip up to. Now, you don't have to achieve that goal in a year, but you do have to make a goal and intentionally move in the direction of that goal every day. That's step one. Set a goal. Step two is taking small steps. Getting 1% better requires you to choose to do things that are small enough that you will actually take those steps. Small steps. This is where people normally get themselves into trouble. Once we finally get motivated, we tend to overcorrect. We decide that, Monday is the day that everything changes. We're going to wake up early, work out, pray, read, meal prep, stop spending money on things that we don't need, update our resume, clean the house, call our parents, build a side hustle, drink a whole gallon of water, and somehow become emotionally mature before dinner. No. sounds inspiring for like 10 minutes tops. Then real life shows up. You decided you're going to conquer the world, and your list of things to do became your own personal Battle of Waterloo. If you don't know what the Battle of Waterloo is, look up Napoleon and the Battle of Waterloo. Things to do today. You probably do. Anyway, so here's another proverb. How do you eat an elephant? The answer, one bite at a time. I know, it's not really a proverb. It's a two-part Q&A. I don't know. It's old wisdom. But the problem is not that you lack discipline. The problem is that you're trying to eat or do too much too fast. You're trying to swallow a whole elephant. Don't do that. That or your plan required a version of you that doesn't exist yet. Yeah. You're just not there yet. You're not ready. And that's okay. Judge appropriately where you are today and what you can reasonably achieve. Goals are important. But so is setting goals that are reasonable. So take small but deliberate steps in the right direction and sustain them. Little steps over time in the direction that you want to go in create big impact. All right, third, do hard things. Now, there's a lot of other ways to say that, and I'll say them all right now. Motivation is helpful, but motivation is also relatively unreliable. It's like weather. Some days are sunny, some days it rains. You can't really rely on motivation every day. Some days you just have to go do it whether you feel like it or not. Now, one of my favorite people in the world is, or at least in the world of sports, is Notre Dame's head coach Marcus Freeman. I've never had the pleasure to meet Coach Freeman. But if you follow pop culture, you've probably seen him on the news or on a talk show. Now, Coach Freeman is certainly a popular person, but I happen to like him most for his mantra. His mantra is choose hard. Now, if you were to pick two words to live by in this 1% better ideology, those would be two very good words to choose. Why? Because some days you're just not going to want to do it. The military has a few other ways of saying it. SEAL teams have an adage that the only easy day was yesterday. That makes a lot of sense when you're growing every day at the rate that they're trying to grow as they're training. The U.S. Marine Corps has another adage, which was adopted by me and some of my Navy brethren during my time in service. Embrace the suck. Some days 1% better will not be fun. And it's how you deal with the trials in your life that determine your outcomes. In order to achieve your goals, you will have days that you will need to go do things that you don't feel like doing. Embrace the suck. Tomorrow might not be any better, but you'll be a day closer to your goal when it finally arrives. All right, number 4. Go slow. Why? This is the part nobody likes. Going slow. We all want results. The easiest thing to do if you want instant gratification are to endlessly scroll on your phone or watch TV. It's an instant dopamine fix. You press a button, you get results. Unfortunately, achieving most goals doesn't really work that way. Achieving goals requires work, requires direction, and it requires time. Society tells us that if we want something, we should be able to have it, and have it now. You want instant weight loss? Try this new drug. Want to get rich? Buy this thing. Subscribe to this idea. Do this, all this stuff. And when none of it works, blame someone else for keeping you down. Forget accountability. It didn't happen instantly, so someone or something must have gone wrong. Here is the reality. Success takes time. You've probably heard of the concept of 10,000 hours, but if not, here it is. Malcolm Gladwell, he's the author of this famous book, Outliers, popularized the concept of 10,000 hours. Basically, the concept states that if you want to master something, you need to do 10,000 hours of deliberate training in that skill. That means to become the master of something in just 3.5 years, you need to do that something for 8 hours a day every day for the next 3.4 years. Want another proverb? Good. Here it is. Practice makes permanent. A coach of mine once said, practice does not make perfect. Practice makes permanent. You heard that right. Practice makes permanent. If you practice incorrectly for 8 hours a day over the next 3.4 years, you will not master a skill. Or if you do master something, you won't master the skill you set out to master. So if your goal is to master a skill, go put in the 10,000 hours. But focus on quality hours. That's where you get 1% better. Put in the quality work every day. Slow, deliberate. Another saying I picked up from the Navy. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Sounds crazy, right? I just said slow is fast. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Slow is fast? What? Now, if you think about it, the reality is that slow is the speed limit. Slow is deliberate. And once you've built a mental or physical muscle memory at a slow pace, doing something the right way, you'll naturally get better at it. And then your speed picks up. So be patient. Speed, change, mastery, and success all come with time and deliberate action. All right, number 5, work backwards. Okay, I'm borrowing another one from Uncle Jeff, and if you don't know who Uncle Jeff is, that's what people who worked at Amazon in 2021 called Jeff Bezos. Again, you don't have to like Jeff or Amazon to recognize that he's incredibly successful. I'm not sure who came up with the idea of working backwards, but Jeff liked to talk a lot about working backwards. And I mean a lot. But what does that mean, working backwards? So working backwards is easiest to practice by using time as a medium to work in and applying it to a goal, right? In McDonald's case, he knew that he needed to have some experience, something that someone who was perhaps fanatical or a mega fan or a super fan of something would give up their house for. That's probably the framework he had in mind. It's easiest to practice by using time as a medium to work with and applying it to a goal. Now, here's a personal example. I'm going to challenge you to sit through this entire story because this is actually a really good, though dry, 1% better lesson. And I can promise this will help you as you set goals if you want to go out and achieve them. Just bear with me, okay? It's about as elementary of an example as I can give. Today, I, Ross, weigh 215 pounds. I want to lose about 30 pounds. Now, I'll save my whys for myself. But here's what I know about healthy, sustained weight loss. I have to know something, by the way, to set a goal and to work backwards. It's part of the point. So I happen to know that losing 1 pound a week is really good, and that's a really good and healthy pace for weight loss, right? And that means it's going to take me 30 weeks to lose the weight that I want to lose. So let's say I change my goal and I want to get everything done in 6 months. I want to lose 30 pounds in 6 months. So I can take today and I can measure forward. And I know that 6 months from today is December 10th. Now, I don't know why I picked December 10th, but stay with me. It's for the example. I'm going to figure out how many weeks it is from today to December 10th. And it turns out that's 26 weeks, not 30, right? 1 pound a week is 30 weeks for 30 pounds. I need to do more than that. So I do some quick math, and 30 divided by 26, it turns out, is 1.15 pounds per week. Is that still reasonable? Yes, it is. So if I want to lose 30 pounds in 26 weeks, or by December 10th, my goal date, I might have to work a little bit harder, 15% harder. I'll get there. And that's how you work backwards, right? You pick a date, you set a goal. Well, you set a goal, you pick a date that you want to achieve that goal by, and then you figure out what you need to do each day to achieve the goal, starting from the end and working to the beginning. Sounds easy, right? Okay, so that's it. Those are the 5 steps. Set goals, take small steps, do hard things, go slow, and work backwards. Do those things, you can get 1% better. All right. Now I'm going to leave you today with a challenge. I want you to pick one area that you want to work on. Figure out where you are right now and where you want to be. And I want you to take one step every day for the next 2 weeks towards achieving that goal. But do it with a plan in mind, right? Remember the 5 steps. Set goals, take small steps, do hard things, go slow, work backwards. I'm just asking you to do something for 2 weeks. And you get to pick what you want to do. The point is, decide what the action is going to be. Commit to it. And if you fail at getting that done on one day, remember that the next day is another opportunity for success. As always, I invite you to join me in my other online communities, ask questions if you have them, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Here's to 1% better every day. Keep looking up.